Welcome to the end of the game.
Okay, Westworld Episode 4. Let's talk about all of the Easter eggs, references, and theories hidden inside this episode's pearl. The title of this episode is The Mother of Exiles. Now, this is a line from the Emma Lazarus poem, The New Colossus, which is about the Statue of Liberty. The mother in question is Lady Liberty, but in this episode, it refers to Dolores. She is the woman seeking to liberate her kind, the huddled masses yearning to be free. And the main theme of this season so far is motherhood and reproduction. The opening credits feature scattering dandelion seeds and a cluster of cells splitting. So too, Dolores becomes a mother by splitting her consciousness into several bodies, but more on that in a bit. The episode begins with William going full Captain Willard insane. If you remember, Season 2 ended with what appeared to be his fidelity test.
How many times have you tested me?
Implying that he was a host in some distant future. This episode implies that he's actually just hallucinating his dead daughter. Now, I think it's actually kind of both, but I'll explain later when we talk about his final scene. He keeps reliving his wife's suicide, hence the water falling through the ceiling. Now, notice the chandelier looks like 6 pearls, or the host cortexes. I'm wondering if this is meant to symbolize Dolores and her 5 children. Now, it could be a stretch, but then they could have made this chandelier look like anything, yet they went with orbs that look like robot brains, so who knows. Emily tells him,
What if every choice you ever made wasn't a choice at all? Just something written in your code.
Now, this is basically the theme of the entire show. The hosts are programmed, yet Ford believes they're superior because they can change. On the other hand, humans have become so predictable that their entire lives are predicted by an algorithm. In fact, later, Serac indicates that religion is just another form of an algorithmic control.
Humans created the idea of heaven and hell to cow simple-minded people into compliance.
And this line,
Are you free and evil? Or blameless and helplessly enslaved?
contains a major religious question. If God created a plan for humans and humans are evil, then are humans really to blame? Or do we have free will and we own all of our evil actions? This season has used symbolism to frame Dolores as a satanic figure and Maeve as a holy angel serving the humans' new god, Rehoboam. Then we're in a simulation of Arnold's house. Note the letterboxing on the top and bottom. There are crosses all over the house, implying some kind of resurrection. So this is probably Dolores speaking to Bernard when he was still just a pearl before she built a new body for him. She tells him,
You live as long as the last person who remembers you, Bernard.
which is repeating a line Akichita said last season.
You live only as long as the last person who remembers you.
Again, this season is repeating a lot of imagery and dialogue from the previous seasons, maybe to show that life is cyclical and everyone eventually makes the same mistakes and falls back into their old loops. For instance, she says,
Your oldest friend.
You don't recognize your only friend?
a callback to,
Hello, my old friend.
Then we're on to Victorville, a real-life city outside Los Angeles. Stubbs is wearing a t-shirt from a company that offers drone ship flyovers of celebrity houses, the future version of Star Maps. Calum and Dolores are shopping at a store called Friston Custom Clothiers. This is a tribute to real-life neuroscientist Carl Friston, who has done work mapping the human mind and theorized about the metric that we'll someday use to measure an AI sentience. So why put his name on a clothing shop? Because for decades, Delos used hats to map the human mind. Caleb tries on clothes like he's building a character in a video game, one of many similarities between Westworld and video games, including respawns, side quests, and main story quests. In fact, Westworld Season 1 writer Hallie Gross is also co-writing the upcoming video game The Last of Us 2. We flash back to Serac's childhood when he watches Paris be destroyed with an atomic blast. Now, this incident was actually first mentioned in the Season 3 teaser trailer, which blended real-life events with the fictional future of Westworld, but it didn't mention the coronavirus, so that one caught Rehoboam by surprise. There's a theory that the whole world was actually destroyed and this whole show is a simulation inside Rehoboam, and man, I hope not, because that would be stupid. I really hope that's not the case. And then Maeve finally begins her side quest and unveils her new superpower to control this world's technology like she's Neo in the Matrix. And this is not the last Matrix reference in this episode. When she had the Yakuza kill each other, it's very similar to her fight against the Shogun's men in Shogun World. She tracks them down to the Itai Doshin distillery. Now, Itai Doshin is actually a Buddhist concept that means one mind, many bodies, a neat foreshadowing of Dolores' brain being in many hosts.
You said you were going to build a new world for all of us. You just want it for yourself.
Now, this might have reminded you of Agent Smith in The Matrix, replicating himself like a virus. Now, personally, I don't think that's Dolores' end goal. She just knows that she can only rely on herself to get this job done.
If you want something done right, do it yourself.
There's another neat possible reference to the Matrix apart from all the simulations within simulations. The suit that she beats up works for Anderson Equity, an Agent Smith called Neo.
Mr. Anderson.
And the name Anderson also means Son of Man, which is a reference to Jesus, who often called himself the Son of Man. The rice wine and wooden barrels could also be cortex fluid for creating more hosts. Also, Maeve lies on her side, a position that keeps coming up this season that mirrors key moments in past seasons. It's significant that while Charlotte and Dolores had each other, Maeve only has herself. At the masquerade ball, Dolores and Caleb wear black while Liam wears white, implying their villainous and heroic roles in the story. Also, they're at a masquerade ball because the mini Doloreses are wearing masks to conceal who they really are. He has a digital drug called genre, which can take you back to, quote, the silent era. My guess is this simulates what it's like to not have an implant. I never would have thought somebody would take a drug to experience life as me. I was surprised to find out that the people on display were prostitutes and not hosts. Again, this season keeps blurring the lines between humans and robots. And this line,
"All sex is commerce. If you don't know that, you're just being billed indirectly,"
is very similar to Maeve's thoughts on the world's oldest profession from season 1.
Well, you're always paying for it, darling. And the difference is our costs are fixed and posted right there on the door.
Dolores taps her head here, a subtle way of saying that she is God.
Nucleus accumbens. It's a small part of your brain about an inch and a half long. It's the part of you that evolved to believe in God.
The music playing at this scene is Wicked Game by The Weeknd. The wicked game in question refers to how she manipulates Liam, but also the wicked game of the park that traps the hosts. But there's another meaning here referring to William, who's playing Ford's game. So let's talk about that big ending and what it means going forward. Charlotte shaving William was actually a callback to this moment from season 1. So Dolores steals William's company and has him committed. He's gone from being the man in black to the man in white. Now this isn't because he's a good guy now. It's because he's helpless, almost childlike. He's been committed to the Inner Journey Recovery Center, which is appropriate since...
I guess you've reached the center of your maze, William.
Now this refers to his quest in season 1, when he thought the maze was a game within the park. But for him, Westworld was always more than a theme park. It was a chance to find out who he really is.
This place is the answer to that question that you've been asking yourself. What question? Who you really are.
And now, decades later, he still doesn't know. Dolores' response,
"Welcome to the end of the game,"
implies that this is the curse of human existence. We never know if we're making our own choices or if our environment is making them for us. His fate exposes the flaws in humanity. Last season, Ford told William,
This game is meant to be lose.
The game begins when you ends where you began.
In other words, he began not knowing who he really was, and that's exactly where he ended up. I also think that this Dolores isn't a hallucination, she's programming. When Charlotte pricks him here, I believe she's implanting a program of herself. And it wouldn't surprise me if she implanted Emily to drive him insane in the first place. And there's other mysteries introduced this hour, like who is the 4th host that Dolores created? Judging by this pad, it's more than likely a female. I think it's your mom. Any theories? Let me know in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.